Before we step into the first gallery, it helps to orient ourselves. The National Museum of the U.S. Air Force is the world's largest and oldest military aviation museum. It houses over 350 aircraft and missiles, along with thousands of artifacts, spread across 19-plus indoor acres and additional outdoor display grounds. Admission and parking are free. The exhibits are arranged chronologically, allowing visitors to virtually walk through history. Building 1 at the front end of this narrative houses the Early Years Gallery, the World War II Gallery, and parts of the Korean War Gallery. According to the museum's map, Wayfinding Map 2019, Building 1 is where guided tours often begin, the metered entrance to Early Years Gallery. As you walk, you'll notice plaques, banners, interactive displays, and cockpit sit-in opportunities. The museum strives not only to preserve aircraft, but also to interpret and connect them to the human stories behind them. Now, let's cross the threshold and step into the past. As you enter, you are greeted by the Early Years Gallery, the era when powered flight was new, fragile, and full of daring. This gallery is a tribute to the pioneers, the experimental machines, and the first steps toward military aviation. Historical context. At the dawn of the 20th century, flight was not yet reliable, and few could foresee its transformative potential. The Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, in nearby Dayton, Ohio, first achieved controllable, sustained powered flight in 1903. Their experiments in balance, control, and propulsion laid the foundation for everything that followed. By World War I, aircraft were evolving from curiosities to tools of reconnaissance and combat. Aviation's role in war spurred rapid technological development. Stronger engines, more stable airframes, better control surfaces, wireless telegraphy in the air, synchronized machine guns to shoot through propellers, and more. As we walk through this gallery, you'll see replicas or actual preserved examples of early aircraft, engines, instruments, pilot gear, and documentation illustrating that shift from fragile wooden Faber biplanes to sturdier, more capable machines. Key exhibits you might encounter: early biplanes and monoplanes, simplified, stripped down, elegant in their engineering. Early engines, radial, inline, showing how power-to-weight and reliability were perennial challenges. Pilot gear, goggles, leather jackets, helmets, and oxygen apparatus, humanizing the risk these aviators faced. Milestones in military aviation, early experiments by the U.S. Army, aerial reconnaissance, and a gradual militarization of flight. A good narrational moment. Pause at a plane or engine and trace how incremental improvements, lighter materials, better metallurgy, more precise machining, allowed flight to evolve from seconds in the air to hours, greater altitude, and greater load. As you move out of the Early Years Gallery, you sense a transition from experimentation to conflict. The gallery sets the stage for what lies ahead. Few eras shaped aviation more than World War II. The demands of global conflict poured fuel on the fires of innovation. Faster engines, larger bombers, fighters with superior agility and systems for navigation, radar, and formation flying. Building 1's World War II gallery is where many visitors linger longest, and for good reason. The stories and aircraft here are emblematic of the scale and sacrifice of that epic. Broader narrative/importance. When war engulfed the globe in 1939, air power became a decisive factor in strategy, logistics, and battlefield dominance. From the Battle of Britain to the Pacific Island campaigns, from strategic bombing to close air support, the skies were no longer passive. They were contested, lethal, and rapidly evolving. Over 4 years, aircraft design leapt forward by decades. Pressurized cabins, multi-engine bombers, jet prototypes, radar, anti-submarine aircraft, long-range fighters, and more. The U.S. entered the war in 1941, and by 1943 to 44, its industrial capacity was at full tilt. Every airframe, engine, propeller, bomb, instrument, gun, and radio was part of a massive logistical chain. The National Museum captures that intensity in artifacts, signage, personal stories, and display context. Highlighted aircraft and stories. While the exact lineup in your footage may vary, here are some typical artifacts and stories you may see or want to highlight. The Memphis Belle B-17F Flying Fortress. This famous B-17 completed 25 missions over Europe and became a symbol of the daylight precision bombing campaign. Her story, crew camaraderie, survival, and morale, is deeply woven into the legend of the U.S. Air Force. Fighter aircraft, P-51 Mustang, P-47 Thunderbolt, P-38 Lightning, etc. These machines pushed speed, range, and durability to new heights as the air war evolved. Medium bombers and transports. The shift from small bombing raids to large formations required logistics and support aircraft. Technological systems, radar units, bomb sights, Norden bomb sight, navigation aids, Lauren, celestial navigation, communications gear, and electronic warfare gear. Personal artifacts, pilot logbooks, mission reports, uniforms, medals, letters, and oral histories. These human elements provide a broader narrative/importance. When war engulfed the globe in 1939, air power became a decisive factor in strategy, logistics, and battlefield dominance. Narration suggestions. When describing an aircraft, mention its role, power plant, range, armament, crew, and historical missions. Interweave human stories, e.g. a crew's experience on a mission, hardships, mechanical failures, survival, loss. Compare early World War II planes to their predecessors from the early years gallery to illustrate progress in speed, payload, durability, and systems. Emphasize how technology, tactics, and industrial scale came together. How decisions in Washington, factories, pilots, and mechanics all had to align. As you exit this gallery, you may feel a sense of escalation, that the machines are larger, faster, more lethal, with engineering precision matched by human cost. Korean War era/transition to Cold War. Beyond World War II, aviation continued evolving during the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, and the initial phases of the Cold War. Building 1 holds artifacts bridging that transition, showing how jet propulsion, higher speeds, new materials, and the geopolitical tension of superpower rivalry reshaped air power. Historical setting. After World War II, the U.S. and the Soviet Union emerged as rival superpowers. The nuclear arms race, containment doctrine, and proxy conflicts, like Korea, set the stage for decades of aerial competition. Jets, guided missiles, radar networks, air defense systems, and the concept of deterrence all rose to the forefront. In Korea, jets replaced most piston-engine fighters. The F-86 Sabre in dogfights over MiG-Ali faced Soviet-supplied MiG-15s. Air war in Korea was shorter in time, but intense in technological leap. Moreover, Korea taught lessons in close air support, interdiction, and integration of air and ground forces. Exhibit highlights. Jet fighters/early jets. F-80 Shooting Star, F-86 Sabre, and perhaps enemy jets or models, such as the MiG-15. Early radar and air defense systems. Ground-based radar, surface-to-air missile prototypes, command and control systems. Support aircraft. Early aerial refueling, reconnaissance jets, transport planes supporting operations in Europe and Asia. Artifacts of transition. Engine parts, experimental materials, new avionics, and pilot equipment adapted for higher speeds and higher altitudes. Interpretive signage. Comparison of jet versus piston performance. The challenges of transonic flight. Thermal and structural issues, and the early skepticism or challenges pilots faced. You might narrate. Here is an early jet engine. Note the shift from reciprocating pistons to axial compressors, turbine blades, and exhaust nozzles. The era of subsonic prop-driven planes was ending. Pilots now confronted compressibility, shock waves, Mach tuck, and new control requirements. Also, you can pause to reflect on how the military strategies changed. Speed and altitude became survival tools, and doctrines such as strategic bombing and nuclear deterrence demanded long-range bomber and transport capabilities. Walking through Building 1 is not just a procession of artifacts. The museum employs curatorial and interpretive strategies, design choices, lighting, spatial layout, interactive elements to guide visitors' understanding. Narrative techniques and design. Chronological progression. As you move forward in time. The lighting, signage, and transitions help guide your mental map. Juxtaposition and comparison. Early versus advanced, before versus after, human stories next to machines. Scale and presence. The size of bombers, interactivity, sit-in cockpits, vantage points, overlooks, and ceiling-mounted displays help evoke awe. Multimedia and interactivity. Videos, voice recordings of veterans, digital kiosks, augmented reality. If used, bridging past and present. Human touchpoints. Emphasis on stories, diaries, quotes, ephemera, so the machines don't overshadow the people. Preservation and conservation. Many aircraft are not airworthy. Museum policy prioritizes historical integrity over reconstructing flight capability. Interpretive messages. Technological evolution is not linear, but is driven by crisis, necessity, and ingenuity. War accelerates innovation, but always at cost. Aviation is interconnected. Design, propulsion, materials, human factors, logistics, policy, all must align. The role of the individual, pilots, mechanics, engineers, is as vital as the machines. The museum doesn't just preserve artifacts. It preserves memory, identity, and lessons for the future. And that brings us to the end of our journey through building one of the National Museum of the United States Air Force here in Dayton, Ohio. I truly hope you enjoyed exploring these incredible aircraft and the stories behind them. If you did, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next videos. Thank you so much for watching, for supporting this journey through history, and for staying connected with our channel. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies, and I'll see you in the next video.